Years ago, I found a book on Route 66, 100 Things to Do in Oklahoma, and that set in motion a desire to ride Route 66 in my dream car, a 1969 SS 396 Chevelle. Since I never could afford a 1969 SS 396, I guess I will have to do it on my Harley. My first stop will be Joplin, Missouri, which gives me a good starting point to enter Oklahoma. It's a short trip into Kansas. Entering Galena, Kansas, I found several vehicles that were inspirations for characters from the movie Cars, including Tow Mater and the Judge, also known as Doc. Outside of town, I came to the sole surviving Marsh Arch Bridge, commonly called the Rainbow Bridge, that was built in 1923. Along Route 66 came across a lot of old service stations. Some have been repurposed into gift shops, others into museums. Some of them are derelict and falling apart. A lot of roadside markers. This one in particular was for the 9-foot wide Ribbon Highway. The Pryor Creek Bridge near Chelsea was built in 1926 and is a modified Pratt through truss bridge. A lot of bridges are no longer in use along Route 66. This camelback pony truss bridge was built in 1933 and replaced in 2011. A lot of roadside attractions along Route 66, including the world's largest concrete totem pole standing at 90 feet near Foyle, Oklahoma. It was built with 28 tons of concrete, 8 tons of steel, 100 tons of rock and sand, and took 11 years to construct. The Catoosa Blue Whale was built in 1972 and brings a big smile to you when you see this thing. Tulsa had a lot of things Route 66. Had the Golden Driller, stands 76 feet tall and built in 1952. Also got to find Buck Adam, Space Cowboy Muffler Man. He was built in 2019, so he's fairly young. Plus a lot of refurbished neon throughout town. Riding makes you hungry, so I had to stop at Ollie's Station for a burger, and oh, this thing was great. Stopped at the heart of Route 66 Museum in Sapulpa. Had a lot of great cars and also claims to have the world's tallest gas pump, and a lot of nice cars inside. The Arcadia Round Barn was built in 1898 and refurbed in 1992. They built it round because they felt there were so many tornadoes that they felt if it was round, a tornado would just go around it. Must have worked. The Blue Hippo has a history of being kidnapped a lot by the local high schools, but he's found a home on Broadway. He originally showed up in Oklahoma City in 1991. I visited the Oklahoma City Memorial and Museum, dedicated to the people that were lost in the federal building bombing in 1995. The survivor tree, it survived the bombing. Another day, another town. I had to stop in El Reno to get me an onion burger from Sid's. Another great place to eat. This is called the Pony Bridge. It was built in 1933 and is 3,900 feet long and the longest bridge on Route 66. It was also the backdrop for The Grapes of Wrath, filmed in 1939. This station opened in 1929. Lucille Hammonds took it over in 1941 and ran it till 2000 when she died. They've completely refurbed it and it's dedicated to her. Visited the Stafford Museum, an astronaut who flew in space 4 times, including Apollo 10 that circled the moon. Great place to visit. Stopped in a park in Weatherford that has a wind turbine blade that is 122 feet long. The Blair Cabin was built in 1892 and is the oldest known structure built in Weatherford, Oklahoma. The western end of Oklahoma has 356 wind turbines, second largest wind farm in the United States. I had 30 minutes to go through the Route 66 Museum in Clinton, Oklahoma before it closed. I did it. Like many hotels along Route 66, this one closed in 1970 because of I-40 bypassing it. The Canute Jail was built in 1918 and could hold 2 prisoners. The National Route 66 Museum was closed in Elk City, so I just got a picture by the sign. This Pratt through Truss Bridge was built in 1926 east of Elk City. The Beckham County Courthouse was built in 1911 near Sayre, Oklahoma. It was also of the backdrop in Grapes of Wrath. Texola, the last town in Oklahoma, also has a jail built in 1910. I originally planned on stopping at Texola and going home, having too much fun, so I was going to continue on to Amarillo. The Dewdrop Inn in Shamrock, Texas, was also the inspiration for Ramon's Body Shop and Cars. The Devil's Rope Barbed Wire Museum in McLean was closed. The Phillips 66 gas station opened in 1929. It closed in 1977, and they refurbed it in 1991. More icons of the West. The cross was built in 1995 and is 190 feet tall in Groom, Texas. A pair of these thunderstorms were blocking my way into Amarillo. I looked out, and in fact, I got in between them and arrived just after the first one went through, dumping golf ball-sized hail in town. It stormed all night, so I decided I would just go out to Tucumcari and turn around with the threat of more storms coming in the afternoon with more hail. No stop in Amarillo was complete without visiting the Cadillac Ranch on the west side of town. Adrian, Texas is the midway point for Route 66. I've got plans to come back to this sign again. The T.P. Curios shop opened in 1944 as a Gulf station. It lost its pumps in 1960 when they widened the streets. The Blue Swallow Motel opened in 1939 and has been opened since all that time. It has great neon signs. The Route 66 monument in Tucumcari was built in 1997 and has red taillights that are lit at night. With storms on the horizon, it's time to turn around and head for home. Made one stop at the Big Texan just because you have to. Even while I was washing my bike, I decided to return to Route 66 and drive the section to Chicago. I plan to do that in September. Why don't you join me?